Hello, my name is Grin, and this is my beard. I got a really neat crumb for you today coming out of my beard. It's about differences in things that you'll find in the house or apartment in America versus in Japan. There, there are a lot of things that I was used to in America when I was living in a house, mobile home, and whatnot, and those things just didn't exist here in Japan when I came and started living in my own, not my own flat, living in a shared house with a few other people. Shared house is nice because you can get a bigger place, better facilities for, the same price as getting a small one room apartment. It's great, but then you have to deal with living with people, other people that maybe they'll steal your necklaces and your deodorant, stuff like that. But the big differences, one of the major biggest differences you'll find in Japan when you come into a house is don't use your shoes inside a house. Of course, you probably already know that, and by now it's pretty much the thing. In fact, it was such a thing that when I came to Japan and I started taking my shoes off, and it's just the thing. When you go into a house, you take your shoes off. Then I went back to the States to visit my family, and my mother started doing the same thing. Like, I told her, we don't wear shoes inside the house, and she's like, oh, that's a good idea. And so she started doing that too. I don't know if it was because of what I said, probably not. She just decided, I don't want to clean up the carpet anymore. And it's pretty nice. I like it. I like not having to wear shoes, but there's a problem, especially if you have hardwood floors. The floors can get pretty cold, so your feet can get pretty cold. They do, a lot of new Japanese homes will have some sort of heating under the floor or whatnot, which is pretty nice, or just carpet. Carpet helps a lot. But heating is another big thing. When you go into a Japanese house, from American point of view, American houses usually have central heating, and it heats the whole house, basically. I guess it's pretty expensive, but it's nice. You can go anywhere in the house without worrying about this room being too cold or whatever. They don't have that in Japan. And there's no central heating. Very few places will have central heating, except maybe like supermarkets or malls or something like that. And most places, they have just single air conditioners for each room. And those air conditioners will be turned on for that room. And so most people just hang out in one room in the house, in a Japanese house, usually the living room. And they'll do their things, whatever they have to do in there. And they pretty much never use the air conditioners or heating in other places, in other rooms, I should say. I got a message. That's great, right during my recording. And it's not even that important. All right, so the air conditioners, the air conditioning units here, like, I don't know, they don't seem very efficient. They seem really expensive. You're using just one unit versus in one room. You're feeling comfortable in one room, and it seems like it's just as expensive as if you had a house in the States with central heating. That's my opinion. I don't know if it's true, but it feels that way. So heating is it's not quick, and you'll often find these kerosene stove heaters as well. They're ubiquitous. They're everywhere in Japan, and they're not exactly unsafe, but not perfectly safe either. Even on the kerosene heaters, you'll see like a warning: please open the window or refresh the air every couple hours. And most of them will actually have a beeping thing. It'll beep at you every 3 hours to let you know, hey, I've been on for 3 hours. You should change some of the air and get some more fresh air in there. Other appliances, other things. If you lived in America, then you'll know that the bathroom is not just where you have a bath. The bathroom is also where the toilet and the sink is. In Japan, they separate those out. The toilet room is the toilet room. You got just a toilet, and the bathroom is a bathroom, but it also can also be the laundry room. So oftentimes you'll have the laundry with the bath, and there's a reason for that because they recycle their bath water usually. They'll take a bath and then they'll use that water to wash their clothes. I don't particularly like it, but also in Japan, when you take a bath, it's you don't just take a bath. First, you shower off. You use soap and water and wash yourself clean, and then you get into the bath. So the bath water is usually a lot cleaner. The whole point is not to get to wash your. It's not to make yourself clean in the bath. It's to enjoy having a bath. Other appliances. So you got a toilet room that's separate from uh, the bathroom, and the toilets are usually very, I don't know, they're kind of futuristic. Like they're not futuristic. They're just uh, well, they if you get a good one, if you find a good toilet, they'll have these lids that automatically open for you. They'll make sounds if you don't want people to hear you doing your business. They like running water and stuff like that, and they'll wash your backside too. They've got usually have a washlet, self-cleaning washlet, things like that. So toilets in Japan are pretty nice. Also, toilets in like retail establishments or at the convenience store or wherever are usually very clean. I've I've gone into some toilets in America and it's just like, oh my God, it's like something died in there. Toilets are not a great place in America. They're not clean, not sanitary in my opinion. But you go to a Japanese restroom toilet, they're usually very clean. Usually, not always. They can get really busy, and then people are just like they can't be bothered to, uh, you know, pee in the right spot or whatever. um, Other appliances. So we're going back to the bathroom. In When I lived in the United States, we always had a washer for the clothes and a dryer. That combination doesn't really happen very often in Japan. You might find some dryers sometimes, but usually it's just a washer and everybody hangs their clothes out. In fact, there's ordinances for building houses where if you're building a house, you cannot block the sun facing side of the next house over because they need to be able to have a veranda that they can hang their clothes and dry their clothes on in the sun. So that's how you dry your clothes in Japan mostly. If it's rainy or whatnot, then you might go to the coin laundry, and there's lots of coin laundries. Um, in the kitchen, you're not gonna find a big refrigerator where you can fit, a week's worth of food in and just live off of that for a week and go to the supermarket once every 7 days. No, 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 no. You're gonna have to end up going to the supermarket every day or every other day to buy clothes for your tiny little refrigerator. Also, wash dishwashing. Dishwashing is also not a thing in Japan. The dishwashers here are tiny little things. They don't really clean very well. I have one and I don't use it. It's terrible. It's they're terrible. It's kind of small. It's like a bucket and you put your stuff in there. It doesn't really clean very well. I hate it. It's ridiculous. I really miss the dishwashers in the States where you pull it down like an oven and you pull the thing out and you put the stuff in and it's really hot and it's really uh, it's powerful and cleans out really well. But the ones here in Japan just don't do that. So you you can imagine how many dishes I've washed. I'm becoming an expert at dishwashing lately. Let's see what else is there. Um, those are the major things. Those are the things that get me all the time. Like I really wish I had a clothes dryer. I really wish I had a good dishwasher. Um, but there are good things, the baths are usually nice. I don't have to worry about taking a shower or a bath and somebody needing to, stink up the bathroom while I'm in there. That is one thing I don't miss. I don't miss that at all. Yeah, I think that's the basic of it. That's those are the things that I think are the most important, and nothing else really comes to mind. These are not things that I make a list of beforehand. I just come up with it as I'm going. If I think of something else later, maybe I'll talk about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we got let's recap. No shoes in the house. No shoes in the house. Uh, Heating is usually one room, and you often might actually have to use a kerosene stove, which means you're going to have kerosene and store kerosene somewhere. Baths and toilets are in separate rooms. Get used to it. When you take a bath, shower first. Washing machines for clothes, you'll find them, but you won't find dryers usually. And dishwashers, if you do have one, it's gonna not be very good. it's and yeah, drying your dishes also, you're gonna have to dry your dishes on the side in a basket or something like that on the side of the sink. And air conditioning or heating is not central, and you're gonna have yeah. Well, I already talked about that. Well, so that's it. That is some of the biggest differences that you'll find inside of a house. Probably also one more thing. In Japan, they use this thing called a kotatsu, and it's ubiquitous. I think every Japanese house has a kotatsu, and it's just a low table that you sit on your knees underneath, or you lounge underneath, or lay down underneath, and it's got a little heater with a like a blanket that goes underneath the table, so that it keeps the heat in underneath the table. And during the winter, that's how they keep warm. And so maybe they don't use the heater so much. They just get underneath the kotatsu, and I'll tell you what, that's my wife's favorite place to be all day with her iPhone in her face and her feet underneath the kotatsu. And when she gets home from work, rather than going to bed, she'll get underneath the kotatsu and just stay warm and sleep there sometimes. All right, well, that was what rum I could pull out of my beard today. Hope you found it interesting. Bye now.